asleep or died of boredom. It's 10:42. You are listening to James O'Brien on LBC. Should we give Kevin another go, or should we go to Cormac in Kennington? Cormac, what would you like to say?
James, hi.
Thank goodness the phones are working.
James, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Carry on.
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting out of my Ukraine lane today, just to remind you what I normally talk about.
Good man.
Look, I want to try and defend Andrew Bailey somewhat.
Okay.
And it's on the basis, look, I was a senior local government officer and then a senior civil servant for almost 20 years. And as such, I was politically restricted, which meant not only could I not be a member of or campaign for a political party, I had to be very, very careful what I said, both in my professional job and even outside work. I could not say anything that might be politically controversial. I was employed to support the policy of the government of the day. Now, I think Andrew Bailey, ultimately, as a very senior civil public servant, is in the same bracket. He has gone very far in that he has made it very clear that Brexit is damaging the British economy. But I think he has to thread a very, very fine line. And my sense at the moment is that he's staying just the right side of that line, while letting us know, the authority that he is, that Brexit is harming us.
So, so this is diplomacy in action then, in a way, albeit on the domestic stage rather than the international one. He's saying that it's bad, while also saying that I don't have an opinion on it.
I think he has to do that, James. But I think he has already, for anybody who wants to listen to what the man has said, he has come out and he has told us very clearly how much it's damaging the British economy and how much it's damaging the city.
What about the second element of today's question, which is the plausibility of there being things that can be done to repair some of the damage without undoing any of the things that have been done since 2016? Because I wish I believed a little bit more in that.
Right. Okay, James, this is what made me jump up and down and say I really want to talk to James on this. It's delusional. Right?
Yeah,
it is pragmatic to say that we must, especially with the world in the shape that it's in now and Donald Trump, we must rebuild stronger ties with Europe. But every negotiation is give and take. And we are going to be fiddling around the edges. The idea that we will get more from Europe because we are nicer, sorry, not we, that Labour will get more from Europe because they're nicer than the Tories is for the birds.
I mean, it is and it isn't.
It's give and take.
I understand that. And I was a bit thick last week. I indulged in a little bit, would you believe, of kind of Little Britanism myself. I'm always conscious of we're all susceptible to these kind of jingoistic swells of the chest, because I was sitting here saying, why is Keir Starmer the first Prime Minister since Churchill to go to France on Remembrance Day? I was talking about it from an entirely Anglo-centric perspective. You as an Irishman would appreciate how damaging Anglo-centrism can be, because of course the reason why Keir Starmer was the first British Prime Minister to commemorate the Second World War in France was because this is the first time he'd been invited. He was the first British Prime Minister to be it's in the gift of the French. It's not the British Prime Minister sitting in Downing Street going, well, shall I pop to France tomorrow to mark Remembrance Sunday, to mark Armistice? You wait to see whether you get invited or not. So the invitation came, and then you make the decision. So there is change. There is room for niceness. The fact that Macron and Starmer stood there together at a time when Germany's in all sorts of difficulties is significant. But you're right, it's delusional to think it translates into making Constantine's life easier as a logistics expert trying to get goods in and out of Europe.
James, could I say one thing?
Of course you can.
And again, I was obviously a very, very little man compared to Keir Starmer, but I was a senior civil servant and a senior diplomat for a short period of time when I was in Ukraine. Going to meetings and embassy receptions and having meetings and glad handing, that's the easy part.
Yes.
It's what you do to follow up on that when you make the hard decisions and the hard concessions. And I cannot see that, the only thing that's going to help fix our economy and, 5% growth over 8 years, some estimates £2 billion a week, not 350 million on the side of the bus, by the way, £2 billion its cost. The only things that are going to address that is re-entering the customs union and the single market with our largest trader. It is delusional to talk about trade deals with faraway small lands. Trade is gravitational. What part of that do people not understand?
Well, actually, I think you'll find it's you and me that don't understand, because this text has come in and it says O'Brien, to which we can add Smith. You still don't get it. It's not about prosperity.